cast from the coast.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Here's Johnny.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
This 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
The boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 49 of They Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam, and I have with me, as always, Tim. When I'm big, I'm going to forget all you motherfuckers. Johnson.
Actual quote.
Actual quote. See, we're getting prophetic.
Actual quote. Actual quote.
It's an actual quote. That's right. He said this multiple times, people, that when he makes it big, he's going to forget all of us.
Yeah, I'm going to go by Big Money. Tim Big Money Johnson.
Tim Big Money Johnson. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good.
He's good, people.
I'm good.
It's been a little bit of a while, so I mean, we've had a
no,
lot of stuff
Adam,
come up.
Adam just kept stuff didn't work out for you, and we had to keep canceling the show. And me and Dave were upset, and we had to rearrange our schedules. And
wait, what the hell?
Fucking Adam.
Shit on Adam.
So am I
totally
right,
unreliable?
It was a group effort. The lack of content was a group effort. Thank you.
I don't know.
I don't know. Tim just likes to point the finger at me. That's why he's going to forget about me when he's big, specifically.
Big money.
I would have been bigger sooner if it wasn't for you, Adam.
Hold me down with your striped shirt.
At least it's not Batman tonight.
Yeah, at least it's not bad.
Well, this is the sweater that I threw on when I realized I was sitting here getting ready.
Oh, shit, I got my Batman
shit, I got the
shirt on.
Batman sweater on. I got to change that real quick. Like, you beat that into me. I'm, like, abused.
Yeah, you would have been in for it, man, if you wore Batman again tonight.
Honestly.
Batman will make a return, though, folks. Do not, worry. Do not fret.
The Dark Knight will return.
Dark Knight will return, so. How you been, Tim?
Good. Busy. Like, unbelievably busy. It's like crunch time. We got like 17 days, I think, until Equinox. Trying to get a bunch of stuff ready for that. I'm trying to get some final picks done because I want to get some prints made. I've been talking to some of the cosplayers, and they've so graciously let me use their images of them that I have edited to make prints, and some of them are pretty kick-ass, and the ones that I'm working on are going to be even kick-ass as well.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited with that. It's going to be like kind of a mixed bag of like sci-fi. I got some horror stuff. I got some superhero stuff. Some video game stuff. It's kind of like pick and choose from a bunch of pictures I've already done. So
from the mind of Tim. You look at the table, and this is the mind of Tim. This is what you're going to see, folks. We'll have a picture of this, by the way. We're gonna take a picture of the table and post it on social media, and you are going to be looking into the mind of Tim Johnson.
It's all scattered and disorganized and rushed last minute. Mind
mispriced and
yeah. No, it's cool. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a bunch of prints there. There's gonna be some art prints there that I've done. We're gonna have
T-shirts.
If anybody's ever seen us at a booth, Misunderstood Art Company at a booth, it's the same thing. Just newer stuff, some new stuff, but it's the same stuff.
Couple of new faces helping out, like me, Mick, Dave's going to be floating around, I think, maybe, possibly, yes, good, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be there, both days.
Oh,
but the cool thing is that this year my focus is, because normally when we do the cons and we do the booth thing, I'm normally there promoting, say, Dead Girl Superstar or Just Misunderstood Our Company or like the YouTube stuff. But this year, I am going to be there in official capacity as the photographer. So I'll be doing the photography sessions, like popping out and all that kind of stuff. But what's cool is last Equinox, I wasn't there in an official capacity. I literally just kind of showed up with my buddy Kevin, and like I randomly did photo ops. It's going to be cool that I'm going to have like a place like, hey, just meet me at my booth. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And
like we're right in the front.
Yeah, we're right in the front. Best part is we're right across from the bathrooms. So what we can do
that's very important.
Well, it is important. Listen to me. It's strategic. We can hold people from going to the bathroom until they buy shit.
Whoa.
You're not allowed to go to the bathroom. What the hell's wrong with you? You didn't buy from us yet.
Yeah.
Dave, hold them down.
Yeah.
Or we can get them when they come out of the bathroom. Excuse me. Can you come here for a second?
Have you heard the good news?
Have you heard the good news? Have you found Tim Johnson?
He's risen.
He has risen.
Sorry. No, but needless to say, behind all the stress and work and all that shit, I'm extremely excited to do this. Never been to Geekwinox as like I said, in an official capacity before. This is the second time I've been there. It's a great little con. It's like a geek themed flea market with a bunch of people in cosplay. And
good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you were there last year, Adam. Yeah. I had a blast.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had every plan on going back this year, but it was just fantastic to say, let's get a booth and just sell some shit and hang out and chat with people, you know, like-minded geeks and fans. So we'll be there. So, you know. If you tell them that you listen to this episode, you come to the booth, you tell us that you listen to this episode, we'll give you a special gift with whatever you purchase. Free smile.
Kiss on the cheek.
The treek? What the fuck is the treek?
Kiss on the cheek. Kiss on the cheek.
Kiss on the cheek. Okay, Tim kisses you on the cheek. Adam smiles.
No, no.
I'm just gonna wave.
We're gonna get in a whole bunch of like sexual harassment suits, and no, I take that back.
Tim Weinstein Johnson.
Whoa, that's not cool, man.
Okay, I just went way too far.
Whoa. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah,
you take things too far, Adam.
Yeah, you do, you bastard.
You think it's funny.
Exciting and Tim
funny.
Weinstein Johnson. That's
my rotten brain, so, you know, that's what happens. Good, man, good. All right, well, we're going to rotate around the table, virtual table. As always, we have Dave.
Hey!
The guy in the plaid shirt, Miles.
Yeah, the guy in the plaid shirt. Yeah. And look at that, my hair's almost back to normal.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, fuck you.
How's it going, buddy?
I am completely exhausted. We finished off our run of Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap this weekend. Great performances all around. 5 months of prep and rehearsal, and it's over. Like it's done. We did 7 performances, 7 shows over the last 2 weekends, and it went off without a hitch. It was awesome. We had great numbers, great audience. Cast was fantastic. I mean, they hit all their marks. Couldn't have asked for anything better. It was a fantastic experience for everybody involved. And I feel like sleeping for a month now, but on to the next.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it's good. So yeah, I've been like completely absorbed in that, especially the last 2 weeks, because we got into the theater on the 10th of March, and we had to build the set that weekend, and then we were the rest of that week rehearsing, and then we opened we had a preview show on Thursday the 15th, but we officially opened Friday the 16th. So we did a Friday evening show. So technically we did a Thursday evening show, a Friday evening show, a matinee Saturday, a Saturday evening show, and a matinee on Sunday. And then we did 3 shows this past weekend. We did a Friday evening and then a matinee Saturday and an evening show on Saturday night to cap it off. So
crazy.
Busy times, but man, everyone was fantastic. It was awesome. Yeah, couldn't say enough good things.
Good stuff, man. It's good.
So yeah, that's been my life for 5 months. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all my free time now.
It's like when you get married, you know, build up to the actual event, and then it's over like that night, and
yeah, that's it.
And then okay, what are we going to do for the rest of our lives now, right? So you know, you got to try to figure
on to the next,
on to the next step in life, right? So it's good, excellent, man. Yeah. So
what about you, Adam?
Oh well, thank you, Dave. Adam. Thank you.
How was your week, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or however long it's been? Tell us, Adam. Talk to us.
However long it's been. Been good. I finished the sculpt and mold on my latest creation. I didn't get a chance to share that out because I had some difficulties with it, but it is my rendition of 1974's Leatherface, the Killing Mask. Problem was I made it as a full head mask, and I kind of oopsied doing the mold. Kind of humbles you when you make a mistake doing the mold. So the entire front half came out beautiful. So at the very least, I got the front half of the mask looks gorgeous. Back half, well, didn't quite turn out the way that I expected it to, but I have a solution for it. It's going to be fine.
How so? Did it just not
cure
in the mold, or what?
No, I created a lock on my mold. Oh. It was locked, and it was pretty heavy lock. I had to basically smash it off with a hammer.
So you smashed, yeah, so I was going to say you probably had to smash it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's repairable. I was looking at it, me and Aaron were looking at it, and he was like, yeah, actually, you know what, you could probably repair that. And so that'll be what I do. So then I'll have the 2 pieces and create the mask, but yeah, so that was pretty cool, and just a couple of other projects coming up, and can't really say too much about those ones, but they're going to be pretty interesting. I can't wait to share those with everybody. And I've just been busy watching movies.
Not even a hint.
Not even a hint. Not even a hint. Can't. Super secret shit. Super secret.
You make it. I already know what you're doing, and you're making it way bigger than what it is.
Whoa!
What am I doing?
How does Tim know and I not know?
You don't know shit.
And I see how this is. I see how this is.
I'm just.
The other brother knows.
Dave, I don't know anything. I'm just making a scene.
You ginger stick together. I know it.
Just making a scene. Well, you know what? Maybe next time, instead of bleaching your hair, you should dye it red.
Maybe I should.
And then maybe you can learn what we learn.
Live how we live. So.
I want to keep my soul.
It's okay. That's right. Other than that, I've been spending a lot of time just watching random movies and old movies, you know, kind of skipping out from horror quite a bit lately. Just been watching some other stuff. Bit of a shout out to my buddy Sean Smithson online. There, we got a decent new Facebook group that's been started up where we literally he basically got pissed off at all the,
Is that a
the
cat?
political. Yes, that's a cat in the background.
Kick that goddamn cat!
I kicked the cat.
Kick it.
Damn
I want to
cat!
see you do it.
No.
Turn the webcam. Do it. Fuck!
Damn cat! Shut up!
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say
Facebook group.
No, I'm not going to now.
He created a Facebook group because he was basically tired of all the political bullshit and bitching and complaining and whining and NRA this and Trump that and everything else. So he basically said, when I get on Facebook and social media for the limited time that I have, I want to do something fun. So he created a group, and basically it's very kind of, you know, limited into who he adds into this, and it's been pretty good. There's just a general discussion that we have every day about good movies to watch, and they don't always have to be horror movies. There's a lot of really awesome Asian film, you know, action flicks, and he's a bit of a foodie movie buff, so you know what I mean. It's interesting stuff, and it's been pretty fun. So, you know, big props to Sean for putting that on. It's been.
He likes movies about food.
Yes, like there's this
like
whole
like documentaries or
like a movie, like like the movie Chef that had John Favreau in it. Like
Chef?
a movie.
That sounds made up.
No, I was gonna say I think I missed that one.
Totally true.
It sounds like you made that up.
Totally true.
Yeah,
but foodie movie. So basically, movies about somebody who owns a restaurant or a business, and it's all about discovering food and stuff. But they're not documentaries. They're funny as shit. Some of them. So
you probably watched Butter with Jennifer Garner.
Oh my god, I've never seen that damn movie. I just couldn't get behind.
I bet you have.
Probably.
I bet you two had a really good discussion about that movie.
I did not, Dave. But Jennifer Garner and Butter sounds.
It's okay. Like you don't have to lie to us. You can
Jennifer Garner and butter wrestling would be.
You're
better.
among friends here.
Shut up, Dave.
Tell us.
I bet you guys had a really good conversation about butter. It sounded funny.
Dave, you're a dick. You're not invited.
And no, we're not talking about butter on the show next time.
Damn it. Well, that kind of leads a bit of a segue into what we are going to talk about tonight. So tonight's episode, by the way, everybody, is going to be
How
do you join those together?
I find a way somehow.
No, there's...
All right. Go ahead.
Fine.
We are going to be talking about...
We have... Okay, yes. It's been pent up for so long, they just can't help but shit on me all night tonight. So this is what it's going to be like, folks. Tonight, we are going to talk about a movie that's not necessarily horror, but it is dark fantasy. Kind of in honor of the fact that this wicked gentleman has actually won multiple Oscars this year for the amazing movie, The Shape of Water. We are going to tonight discuss Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo Del Toro. And this, personally, is just an absolute favorite flick of mine. Has been for a long time. I can't wait to discuss it. So I sat down and revisited it the other night, which I'm assuming you guys did too. Maybe.
No,
Dave?
I watch this movie like at least 2 times a year.
Yeah, well.
I didn't. I watched new stuff this week.
You watched new stuff this week. Okay. No thanks to me.
No. It's one of those movies that, like, yeah, I'm very familiar with Pan's Labyrinth.
Absolutely.
I almost said Shape of Water.
Shape of Water.
We're not talking about that, Tim. Ah, shit.
Shit, man. Nice. All right.
Video.
Well, we're going to take a quick break for a minute, and when we come back, we are going to talk about Pan's Labyrinth. Coming back in a minute, gentlemen.
People of the internet, my name is Tim Johnson and I am joined by Adam and David Miles. We are Filmgoria, a new show from Misunderstood Art Company that will be premiering very soon, where we actually review and delve deep into these movie titles that we absolutely love and hold very, very close. Make sure to keep checking out for that. We will be on YouTube, and as always, stay spooky.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. You know, folks, when we're not making those great movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nukem I, a.k.a. Volume 2, the Troma team and I like to kick back and listen to They Cast from the Coast. They Cast from the Coast is really the best entertainment, the best education, and the best emotional liberation that Lloyd Kaufman can possibly experience. Thank you.
In a dark time, when hope was bleak, there lived a young girl whose only escape was in a legend that wanted her back. The legend speaks of the lost soul of a princess from another world who will one day be reborn. There will be signs that mark her return. There will be secrets that reveal her destiny. There will be a journey that will make you of Guillermo Del Toro. In darkness, there can be light. In misery, there can be beauty. In death, there can be life. Labyrinth.
Welcome back, everybody, as we continue our night's discussion on El Labyrinto del Fauno.
Oh.
Apparently I'm a pretentious asshole.
Official title.
Translation. Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth, that's right. So, fantastic movie, and I'm assuming because I mentioned this, I should be taking it. This was my idea. Right, so I'll take the story.
It almost sounds like you wanted to do it anyway.
I don't really give a shit. Tim, do you want to do it?
No, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. I mean, I could do an awesome one, and it would be short and to the point. But go ahead.
Okay, fine. I guess I'll do it. In 1940,
I'll judge the whole time. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
What a jerk! I'm judging you, Adam. Shut up, Dave. 1944 Spain. A girl fascinated with fairy tales is sent along with her pregnant mother to live with her new stepfather, a ruthless captain of the Spanish army. During the night, she meets a fairy who takes her to an old faun in the center of a labyrinth. He tells her that she's a princess, but must prove her royalty by surviving 3 gruesome tasks. If she fails, she will never prove herself to be the true princess and will never see her real father, the king, ever again.
And who does it say that plotline was written by?
Tim Johnson!
Whoa!
That's pretty damn cool, actually. Nice.
Tim, you can write all of our plot lines for all of our movies that we're going to talk about.
That's right. So
that's a great job.
Fantastic. Anyway, so the big thing is that it's a great topic to talk about this movie because, you know, in light of the Oscars and Del Toro winning 2 frickin' Oscars for The Shape of Water, which was well deserved. We want, you know, Mountains of Madness now. Thank you very much. It just basically, you know, stirred up the idea that maybe we should do a Del Toro film. And you've got the atypicals like the Hellboys and his newer ones like Crimson Peak, which are all good movies in their own respect. But in all honesty, this was the movie that made me fall in love with Del Toro's filmmaking.
Really?
It was. It really was. So for me, the story of this movie and his filmmaking efforts behind this flick, absolutely, I adore it, and it struck me, and I had to find out the rest of his library. Turns out I had seen a couple of his films previously that I didn't really realize were his at the time. For whatever reason, I had seen Chronos previously, and I'd seen Mimic, but I guess like I didn't really clue into them, is the big thing, as to those were his films. But this, in a fantasy, dark sci-fi fantasy world, is just absolutely right up my alley. It's beautiful. It was perfect. It just everything about it. as for the storyline, it is very much so a Grimm's fairy tale type of story. You know, the whole movie takes place starting off with the whole idea that a princess was had left the kingdom, and she basically turned human and was living amongst mortals and was growing. She was going to age like a mortal, live like a mortal. She could die like a mortal and everything else. And there was no easy way for her to return to that realm to see the king and her mother and the kingdom and everything else and all the people who adore her ever again. And so we jump to 1944 in Spain during the war efforts, and this little girl, Ophelia, who basically turns out to be the princess in a mortal body, and is recognized by the mystical creatures and the faun as being that princess. And she must undertake the tasks. And the tasks themselves, as it says, 3 gruesome tasks, are, I mean, as an adult, you'd shit yourself going through this stuff, let alone what a kid must be going through trying to do this.
Really, that big toad scared you?
No, but I mean, you know, just the whole idea of crawling.
You were terrified.
I was terrified.
And amphibians.
What the hell did it just vomit up?
All right, go ahead.
You know, it's fantastic storytelling. And that is a big thing that Del Toro does. He is a storyteller. First and foremost, he paints a wonderful world, and everything is visually beautiful and stunning when he does this. You know? So, story. Tim, talk a little bit about story.
Well, I feel that you covered everything wonderfully, but Del Toro to me is one of those, like, anomalies where he's a very old school director, modern day. He's a firm believer in practical effects. He's a firm believer in solid storytelling. He's like, to me, like a modern day, like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, like that kind of, but the types of movies aren't like their type of movies, you know what I mean? But he's very much like has that same type of sensibility, and you know, with Pan's Labyrinth, all of those things are like present because, you know, going into this, I was aware of Del Toro. My favorite Del Toro movie before this, besides Hellboy, was Devil's Backbone. I love that movie. God, that was a nice, like, ghost story. Like, I loved it. But I'm sidetracked here. Sorry. The Guinness is hitting me. Woo! Is that, like, it's just a solid story, and it just kind of, like, you're going along, and then all of a sudden the violence starts, and I remember with the bottle scene into the nose, that threw me off guard because I did not know that it was that type of movie. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm getting squirmy in the seat in the theater. Like, I went to go see this on a date with my kid's mom. And it was like, oh, it's a fantasy movie. It's kind of dark. It's Del Toro, so, like, it's good special effects. I had no idea I was walking into this violent, like, it was amazing. But, like, it was a very nice surprise. A real nice surprise.
Real nice.
Real nice. But real nice. I love how all three of us did it. Like, it was good. But, yeah, like, it was just... and it takes place during World War II, and like I just loved the aesthetic. I just loved it. Nice. I loved it because it very much, like you said in the opening, it's his take on like a Grimm fairy tale, and Grimm fairy tales are not Disney movies. You know, like there's always something tragic, and someone always dies, and it's scary, and you know what I mean? And this was very much that, where the fantasy was amazing. Like, you know, there's a king and a queen and, you know, a missing princess, and she has to do a quest, and there's like her like guide on the way, which happens to be the faun, and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's just awesome.
It's fantastic. Dave. Feelings
on the story.
Feelings on the story.
I was just gonna say, what are we talking about? Oh, story. Yeah. I mean, Del Toro is a master storyteller, and certainly he's extremely visual. But I mean, he is a storyteller. If I could compare him to somebody, which it's not a direct comparison, but he's kind of like my new favorite Tim Burton type person. You know what I mean? Like Tim Burton has always created those whimsical, magical worlds, fantasy worlds. Del Toro is similar, but I like Del Toro's visions better. You know what I mean? His visions are whimsical, they're fantasy, they encompass so many different aspects. I like his brand of storytelling better, but I would compare him, along the same lines of Tim Burton, where he's like a fantasy storyteller. And some of those stories happen to be horrific. Right? I mean, Pan's Labyrinth is not a horror movie. It is a fantasy movie, but it's a dark fantasy movie. It's a dark fantasy film. And, I mean, the fawn and just all the visual elements. I mean, even just the labyrinth itself, like the gates and the tree and just the whole visual aspect of it. I mean, it's from his mind. I mean, it's from his brain. And he's able to visually, tell that story, and he's a genius. I mean, all of his movies, I was a fan. I think the first movie that I saw from Del Toro was Hellboy, and Hellboy sold me, right? And then I started, searching out the rest of his stuff, and I don't know, I guess the guy can tell a really good story and keep you entertained. And he's really good at selling you on the visuals as well. Like, it's really good. Like, it's all encompassing. It's just so good. Yeah.
Excellent. Characters. All right. So talk about characters here for a minute. So the main character herself, Ophelia, played absolutely brilliantly by Ivana Baquero. I want to say, just pronouncing it appropriately, potentially. Absolutely amazing. This is the kind of thing that we talk about often on the show. Whenever a child actor gets it right, which in today's movies, there's a lot of it. There really is a lot of kid actors that are truly doing it properly. But some actresses or actors as children just absolutely up the ante. And she was one of them. She really did carry the movie. And she was, for the most part, this was almost like a solo act for this movie. Everything else was a backdrop to her story, her tale, her quest that she was on, and everybody was there to either be a hurdle or to help and guide her. And as much as you'd like to think otherwise, characters like her mother were actually a bit of a hurdle. As much as her mother was a loving, caring person, she was, kind of marrying against her will, whatever, to this guy, and she was pregnant, and there was a lot of medical situations going on, and she was very, very much so, she felt a need to be there with her mother, so it was a bit of a hurdle for her in that way, but then you had other characters like Mercedes, who was one of the she was kind of like the head mistress of the house or whatever, the one that was helping out and running the staff in the house. She wasn't a hurdle. She was very much so a supporting character for her, but there was an entirely different storyline that was going on with her at the exact same time, which was brilliantly unfolding, which, as it turned out, helped to kind of take the attention of our main villain away from her. So the main villain, the gentleman, the captain, was basically taken on a different route in this to allow her to go about her business and do her tasks as they were. Gotta obviously talk for a second about Doug Jones, who absolutely paid two of the most amazing characters, in my opinion, in cinematic history in this, monster characters. The Fawn itself, which took something like 4.5 to 6 hours of pre-made prosthetics, pre-made pieces, to literally just put him together. And the man is just a genius in everything that he did in this movie. But then he also played one of the creepiest characters I've almost ever seen in a fantasy film. The Pale Man. with the hands, the infamous picture with the hands and everything else.
Yeah.
And you're looking at him, and they kind of CGI'd his bottom half so that it just looks like he's walking on two skeleton legs. And he was absolutely creepy as crap. But it was beautifully acted and done.
Creepy as crap.
Creepy as crap. I didn't say shit that time.
Can we quote that? That's going to go on the box art. It's creepy as crap.
Says Adam.
Adam.
Creepy as crap. But yeah, Dave, characters.
You nailed it. I mean, the two characters obviously that stick out are the Fawn and the Pale Man. I mean, when I think of Pan's Labyrinth, immediately the first character that comes to mind is the Pale Man. I mean, he's creepy. He's iconic. That's what I think of. That's where my mind goes. And again, you know, the Fawn, who is not Pan, it's just a fawn. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, these are just iconic characters, you know, that Del Toro created, and it's a testament to his vision and his storytelling that he can create two modern characters like that based off of, well, I don't even know what the Pale Man would have been based off of. I mean, it's probably just a character he created, but at the very least, the Fawn would have been based somewhat off of the Legend of Pan. But I mean, to have those characters, you know, stand the test of time and immediately draw you to them when you think of Pan's Labyrinth, I mean, it speaks volumes of Del Toro and, again, his creative mind. The other characters, I mean, you know, the captain or whatever his name was, Vidal. Yeah, I mean, he was a prick, but, you know, that was the character, right? I mean, he was a dick, but it was played, you know, very well by that character. And you know what? No, you know what? We'll save it for the special effects and stuff. But his character was a good character. Ophelia, I mean, played awesome by whatever her name was, Ivanka. No, that's Trump's daughter. Baccaro. Yeah, I mean, the movie was just, it was well acted. It was believable. All the characters played their parts equally well. But from a effects and creature standpoint, the Pale Man and the Fawn obviously are the standouts, and they always will be. They overshadow the other characters in the movie, and that's just the way it is.
Perfect. Tim.
Me?
Yeah.
You guys basically summed up everything that I was going to say. Ophelia is a great protagonist. She literally goes on this amazing journey, and I mean, the cool thing is if you look at this movie objectively, is this just the imagination of this poor little girl trying to, you know, exhibit escapism? You know what I mean? Like, she's scared. She's got a new stepfather that's an asshole. She's reading these books. She's obsessed with fairies and, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, did any of this actually happen, or was she just pretending? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But then you get the second half of the story, which is actually happening, which is World War II happening in Spain. You know what I mean? And her stepfather happens to be, I believe he's a captain. I could be wrong. But, and he is like a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a very nice man. And you got this whole kind of rebellion with the people of, you know, this town, and Mercedes is working with them. And like, I really liked all the characters. I feel that, that there was no real weak link in any of the character portrayals at all. Like, everybody had a point, a purpose. You know, Vidal's the underlings, you know, the other, you know, higher up officers in his army were awesome. Like, it was just great. The Doctor was great. It's just, I really enjoyed everybody in this film. But, I mean, Doug Jones stole the show, as he does in most Del Toro movies anyway. Yeah, Pale Man was awesome. And I'll never forget it was the interview with Del Toro saying that his stamp of approval came from Stephen King when they were at the premiere, and Stephen King is sitting next to him in the front row, and Pale Man comes out, and Stephen King's getting all antsy in the chair, like he's getting uncomfortable, and he's like, "Yes, I creeped out the master of horror." You know what I mean? Like that was his, like, that was better than, you know, any Oscar, any award, any accolade that he possibly could have received. He freaked out Stephen King, and like I'm sure you guys can attest to that, you know, that would be a very shining review, you know, of any project. But again, it just goes back to Del Toro's like old school sensibility. He knows how to write characters. He knows how to, you know, tell a story where half of it is this fantasy, right? And I don't know. Like I said, I just think everybody kind of brought their A game, and the fact that he was adamant that this movie not be dubbed and stay in Spanish.
Respect.
Yeah, it added to the believability of the time, the period, and I find when you get into dubbing, sometimes shit's lost in translation, right? So everything that they were saying is what they were saying because it's not dubbed, and, you know, Del Toro wrote what they said. So I don't know. The characters are really good.
Nice. So we'll get back to something that you said in a minute, because I had the same feeling on this, and I wanted to talk about it kind of like the last minute that, the last review on this. But Dave, talk about the effects for a minute.
You know what? The effects were great. I mean, again, going back to the monster effects, Doug Jones, like Tim just said, stole the show.
Yep.
I mean, yes, there was some CGI in it.
But it wasn't heavy.
It wasn't heavy CGI. I mean, it was there. The movie was what, 2006, so CGI was still pretty good, but, I mean, not as good as what we have today, but, you know, I didn't feel as though the CGI took away from the story. If anything, it was used with the practical effects to enhance the overall story. It was a necessity telling this type of story. I think it was required. So yeah, I mean, the special effects, no problems there. The practical effects, like Doug Jones playing the Fawn and the Pale Man, stole the show. Even some of the little things, like when Vidal is cut and his mouth is sliced open. He's stitching it together. I'm like, that, like, it's small, but it's so effective. I mean, I'm watching him going, oh my god, like, it looks so real and painful. And then when he gets shot in the face,
oh, that was brutal.
It's so small, it's so simple, but yet it's like, boom, you get the hole, the blood starts trickling out, and then the blood under his eye, and I'm like, holy fuck, man.
I have a little tiny random piece of trivia about that. Apparently, growing up, Del Toro, I forget where he works. I think he was working at a hospital. And he was on his lunch, and he had to cut through the morgue, and someone was shot. Very similar. Where the eye rolled back in the head and there was all blood and he was shot exactly the same. He said that image has stuck with him forever.
Wow. Yeah.
And thus so apparently that's what it really looks like if you get shot in the cheek.
Yeah, and that has always stuck with me too, because like he gets shot, the single eye rolls up.
It goes back,
and it looks almost kind of like, you know, it starts to droop a little bit, you know, like
So it's because it starts filling up with blood.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I'm just like, by no means a huge practical effect. It's not
like his face was blown apart, but it was gross.
Well, exactly. Yeah. You know what? I found that effect more effective than if they'd blown like half of his face off with a gunshot.
Yeah.
It was unsettling. I'm like, yes, that was awesome.
But it was also very realistic with the caliber of the gun that, you know, he got shot in the face with. That's what it would have did. It was literally like a little fucking...
It was more realistic.
Yeah.
It was believable.
But the best part of all that was the literal lines that led up to that, where he's like, make sure my son knows my name. Your son will never know you existed. Boom!
Exactly.
And it's just like, Yes, absolutely fantastic.
So anyway, yeah, I mean the effects were great all around, and even the smaller effects are just so good.
The Pale Man eating the fairies and shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about all that to death, but we don't have much more time, so I want to jump right to kind of like the end of things here, like a final thought scenario. Tim, you brought up something that I was going to bring up on my final thoughts on this too.
Yeah.
Final thoughts in terms of the fact that the way that the movie ends has always stuck with me in a very, very, very interesting manner. Because as the character lies dying, Ophelia lies dying, we jump back and forth between what one would assume is reality and kind of what she's going through dying. It's kind of like she's passing on to the other world with that death. You know what I mean? But it leaves it open for interpretation in very much so the way that you stated. The fact that, was this all an escapism type of thing for her? Was this all in her head? You know, was the reality just this was her getting out of the horrors of real life, being stuck in Spain in World War II with an asshole father-in-law, a mother that almost dies from childbirth at one point, is sick anyway, and all the shit that's going on. And it's almost like that escapism takes place, and it finally does give her escape from life when she lies there dying. And it was very, very, very much so. I mean, it was almost poetic.
With that soundtrack playing, and she's in the dark and
the heavy breathing,
the blood.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
And Del Toro's infamous for that kind of imagery. I mean, that kind of imagery was also in like Hellboy when they killed the guy in the little maze stuff in when the blood kind of brings back the monk. You know, Rasputin, yeah. So that kind of a thing happening. But it was almost like she was done. She had succeeded. She's being handed over to that other world. But was she really? Or was that just her final glimpse of thought as she was dying? Her escapism taking place. So overall, my final thoughts on the movie, that has always stuck with me because it was a bittersweet ending to me. It was the grim fairy tale ending. Somebody important dies. But is the ending truly happy? It's happy because maybe she really did accomplish what she was supposed to do and gain back her access to the kingdom. Or maybe it's just a sad tale that ended with nothing more than Mercedes crying over a child who has died in her arms. And it's always stuck with me in that way. So, Tim.
Yeah, it's like this movie is simple and straightforward, and there's no like, I don't know, like gimmicks or anything. And like the plot has all these different layers, and that's just a testament to the intelligent writing and the amazing writing of Del Toro. Because there was just a message and metaphors and this very open ending. Like I was saying, one half is literally fantasy of this little girl, where the other half is this gritty, horrible reality of 1944 Spain at war. Everything that I've said so far as the choice to keep it in its original language and not have it dubbed was awesome. And I don't know, the unexpected violence, I'm telling you, I was sold when Vidal grabs that fucking guy and starts beating his face, his nose with the bottle. And he just was relentless, and he was going and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to stop, and it's holy fuck.
It's like the Simpsons, stop, he's already dead.
Yeah, right? Very much. But I'll never forget, that is what, I'll take Pale Man and all that shit over, because that was real to me. That was real. Yeah. And again with Vidal and, the scar in the face, and he takes a drink of he's like, right? Because, the alcohol burns the skin.
Yeah, and you can see it coming through.
Dribbled out a little bit. Him getting shot in the face. a lot of I love this movie. The soundtrack was amazing, and another thing that I'm really really happy about is that like the special effects were good. I mean, the CG I think still holds up today. A lot of it was just to erase things, like Doug Jones's legs with the fawn. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It wasn't really in your face, and again, that's the testament of amazing practical effects, and like getting these people more involved instead of relying on CG. I just love this movie. I love this movie. Like I said earlier, I watch it 2 times a year easily.
All right, final thoughts, Dave.
Final thoughts on the movie. Again, like I said earlier, it's an original story by Del Toro. It's a perfect showcase of his vision, his visual storytelling.
Genius.
His genius. I mean, give this guy more money to make more movies.
Hopefully the Oscars winning this year will do that. So
we need to see Del Toro's At the Mountains of Madness. Like, it has to happen. Now that the guy's got, a couple Oscars just from The Shape of Water, it's got to happen. One last thing I will mention, though, specifically about Pan's Labyrinth. I agree 100% with you guys on the whole, was it all in her head versus did it really happen? Because, I mean, the first time I saw this, it's instantly where my mind went. I'm like, you could look at it 2 different ways, and I almost prefer to look at it as it was her way of escaping the horrors of war.
Mm-hmm.
She withdrew into herself, into the stories that she was reading. She was drawn into that fantasy world, and that's what we're seeing is what she has up here. She's withdrawn into herself because of the horrors of the war and just life in general where she is right now, that whole situation with the stepfather and everything else. And I think it works better looking at it from that point of view.
A lot of people would agree with you. One of the biggest things that I found was the defining factor for a lot of people that made them feel that way about this movie was when the captain's coming down the stairs and she's talking to the fawn, it switches to his perspective and she's not talking to anybody.
Right, exactly.
The fawn's not there.
Right.
So then the question is the fawn really there, or is it in her head, or is he magically invisible? You know what I mean?
Well,
like, one of those things, because it is a fantasy. It could be magical that he only is showing himself to her.
But it was the same with the mandrake root, right?
True.
When he took the mandrake root from underneath the bed, looking at it from her point of view, the mandrake root was moving around, especially when he threw it in the fire. But when he had it in his hand, we were looking at it, obviously from his perspective, it was just a root. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it absolutely could play out the other way, that, yes, it's magical, we just can't see it. But it is happening.
She's the princess. She sees all that.
But again, that's the genius of this storytelling. Del Toro is leaving it up to us to interpret.
It's not a definitively stated thing.
That's right. How do you view this movie?
Nice.
And that's the genius of his storytelling.
Me?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you. Me, you, me. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I want to see At the Mountains of Madness.
That's right. So we're gonna have to do another Del Toro at one point. Somebody else will pick one, and we'll maybe The Devil's Backbone at one point, because I really feel that is a. I really feel that is a horror movie. That is a great haunted flick. And
Del Toro only produced that one, didn't he? He didn't direct Devil's Backbone. It was produced by Del Toro.
I'm pretty sure he directed it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to double check right now. I'm on IMDb.
Director.
There's a
Devil's
similar
Backbone,
one
directed by
Okay.
Guillermo Del Toro.
There was a similar one, though, wasn't it, that he produced, he didn't direct?
I don't know. We'll have to check into that. So we'll
check into it.
You guys can check into that real quick. So, but yes, Fantastic all around. Maybe we'll do Devil's Backbone at one point, because I've always felt that Pan's Labyrinth is almost like a spiritual successor in the same world too. You know what I mean? Like there's something magical and haunting going on in this, but I love it. I even loved a couple of years ago when they re-released Devil's Backbone on Blu-ray, and they actually had Mike Mignola do the cover art. And it's the little boy standing there and the stuff coming out of his head, right? And it's like crazy. Love it. It's beautiful stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, that leaves us with the ending of our episode and everything that we have had to say about this beautiful movie. If you have not seen it, which I doubt that many of the people who are listening to this episode have not seen it, but it's definitely something to watch. Get out there and support this man and his efforts, as if he's not already being supported now after, once again, his big wins with The Shape of Water. But this is the kind of movie that you really want to put people to watch. So that's about that. So let's take a second before we close up for the night. We're going to talk about the Geekwinox again. Tim, you wanted to talk about the Geekwinox real quick again?
I just wanted to say that it is happening in April on the 14th and 15th. And you guys, if you're in the Halifax area, you should absolutely check it out. It is so much fun. It's like Halcon's baby brother, but without all the lineups and the stress. It's very much, like I said, a geek-themed flea market, and there's all kinds of vendors, there's all kinds of people dressed in cosplay, there's the upper echelon of cosplayers that are guests, and I had so much fun last year, and now being this year in official capacity, I'm really excited. But you guys should check it out, April 14th and 15th.
Come by the booth, buy one of Tim's prints, and get him to sign it, because that shit's going to be worth something when he's Big Money Johnson!
Big Money Johnson.
I'll deny it, though. That's not my signature.
That's not my signature. No, that's the old Tim Johnson signature.
Yeah, that's regular Tim Johnson.
Yeah.
It doesn't say Big Money on it.
Oh, and definitely, if by any chance one of the biggest cosplayers that we'll have at the Geekwinox is around our booth, Mr. Kevin St. Pierre, he offers free hugs. So ask Kevin St. Pierre for a free hug. Tell him that we sent you, by the way. So.
It's funny, too, because when I was hanging out with Fox Lidstone, I think it was last week, he was saying, "Oh, so you shoot with Tim? Like, what's shooting with Tim like?" And he's like, "So funny, but it was awkward." He's like, "Well, Tim always starts his sessions off with a hug."
And wait, who said this?
Fox, the cosplayer who does Han Solo, Indiana Jones.
But who was he saying this to?
Other cosplayers.
Oh my god!
He always starts off with a hug.
He always starts off with a hug, and then there's a lot of back and forth with the shoot, and then after there's usually like a cuddle section and like and all this kind of stuff. And like they're looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, he's absolutely right. I started off with a hug. Like, it's so funny.
Who wants a hug?
I'm a hugger.
Book your photo session now with Tim Johnson. Free hugs included.
Get a hug. But yeah, with that being said, I am within the next couple days going to be posting about appointments. If you want to book with me, I will be at Geekwinox the 14th, 15th. I haven't really worked out what I'm going to charge for sessions yet, but
they're going to be reasonable. Trust me on that. He undercuts himself pretty bad, so you'll enjoy it. Take advantage of Tim. Stop.
Yeah, don't.
It's all good.
Don't take advantage of me.
Don't take advantage of Tim. Okay. Well, take advantage of the hug anyway. All right. Other than that, next episode, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be our 50th episode. We have reached the big 5-0, and we got something.
Did you want to announce what we're doing?
We might have already announced it, but
I don't remember if we did.
Okay, so
I don't think we did.
Drum roll, everybody. Episode 50 comes from the brain of Mr. Tim Johnson himself.
Me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, right, I did.
In this episode, it's going to be a little bit longer than our hour-long stint, mainly because we have to pack all this awesome shit in there. Each one of us is going to actually review 3 movies ourselves. We are
Oh
calling...
my God!
I know! We are calling this episode The Gauntlet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the gauntlet. The gauntlet.
Jeez, that's where it went to, David. So it'll be a surprise until it actually hits, and you'll see. We're probably not going to actually announce what it is, even in the description. You're going to have to listen and watch the episode to actually see and hear what we're talking about that episode. They won't be in the descriptions. It'll be a total surprise. So when episode 50 comes out, The Gauntlet. 3 reviews from Dave, 3 reviews from Tim, 3 reviews from Adam with discussions all throughout. We're going to keep it timely, though, and it will run... That's
probably about an hour and a half.
Probably about an hour and a half. So that's why we're calling it The Gauntlet.
We each get like a half hour or something.
Something like that, yeah. So we're going to jump in, have a quick round table, give Tim a fun name, and jump right to it. So, until next time, everybody, I want you to go onto Facebook, hit us up on social media, like, subscribe, share the pages, check us out on YouTube. If you feel so inclined, hit us up on Patreon. Become a patron. Open up your hearts and your wallets. Support us for as little as $1 a month.
I need like a coffee fund.
I need a coffee fund. That's right. So until next time, everybody. Say goodnight, Dave.
Good night,
Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
See you next time, everybody. Take it easy. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in this week to They Cast from the Coast. We hope you enjoyed the topic and the discussion that we've had tonight. We're very excited about everything that's being produced right now in conjunction with the Misunderstood Art Company. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, say hi in the comments section, and just in general, check out the other content that's being offered, once again, under the Misunderstood Art Company. If you want to listen just to the audio portion of this show itself, we're making it available on iTunes, Google Play, and TuneIn on top of the YouTube channel itself. So thank you very much again for your continued support. Check out the rest of the Misunderstood Art Company's offerings. You might even see some familiar faces. And until next time, take it easy.